Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. I want you to close your eyes for just a second and imagine standing on a dusty, sun-baked mountain. We are stepping right into one of the most intense, cinematic moments in ancient history, Mount Carmel. But what makes this scene so utterly terrifying isn't roaring thunder or some blazing inferno. No, as we're going to see, the true horror was the absolute, deafening silence.
Just picture this visceral scene. You have hundreds of prophets of the god Baal. They are literally screaming until their throats tear. They're cutting themselves, blood is running down their bodies, dust is clinging to their sweaty faces. And the massive crowd is just watching, right? Waiting for their god to breathe, blink, strike, whisper, literally anything. And nothing comes. No voice, no God. We hate that kind of silence because it exposes us. It exposes the dead altars we trust in secret and the things we feed with our time, our money, and our loyalty, only to find out they're as dead as a stone idol baking in the sun.
Section 1. The Silence of False Gods. Let's step right into this deafening quiet with a man named Elijah.
Elijah was walking into a nation where that dead silence had ruled for entirely too long. King Ahab and Queen Jezebel had dragged the entire nation of Israel into Baal worship. True prophets were being hunted down. Just think about living in a society where truth was considered dangerous and lies were actual official policy. Well, Elijah doesn't tiptoe around it at all. He asks a question that lands like a heavy knife dropping on a quiet dinner table. How long will you falter between two opinions? And the crowd's response? Total silence. A tragic silence that perfectly reveals the reality of a split heart. See, false gods can't answer because they are nothing, but people refuse to answer because they know way too much. They know they're saying Lord on Sunday but bowing to fear, money, or pride on Monday.
Which brings us to Section 2, the contest on Mount Carmel. Elijah proposes an incredibly simple, very public test.
The rules were straightforward. 2 bowls, 2 altars, 0 human fire. The true God will answer by fire. He actually lets the prophets of Baal go first, and they frantically call out from morning all the way until noon. They even start slashing themselves with knives and lances. Why? Because false gods don't bleed for you, they make you bleed for them. Sin always demands a sacrifice. Pride takes your peace. Lust takes your purity. Greed takes your sleep. Bitterness steals your joy. And fame? It takes your soul and pays you entirely in smoke. Every single idol offers a mouthful of promises, but hides hands full of knives. And still, on that mountain, absolutely no one answered.
Moving to Section 3, Rituals versus True Repentance. Now, before Elijah even prays for fire, he does something absolutely foundational. He repairs the broken altar of the Lord. He doesn't rush to the big spectacle, because God won't bless what we refuse to repair. We so often want the public fire, while leaving our private stones completely scattered. Elijah is incredibly methodical about this. Step 1, 12 stones for the tribes of Israel, proving God hadn't forgotten his covenant. Step 2, lay the wood and the sacrifice. But step 3 is where it gets crazy. He has them pour water on the sacrifice. Not once, 3 times. Literally, until the trenches are overflowing. He is purposely removing every single excuse. No one could ever claim there was a hidden spark. He made the scene absolutely impossible, so that no human hand could ever steal God's glory. Notice the stark contrast on this slide. On one side, you've got spiritual performance, screaming, cutting, begging for attention from a totally deaf idol. On the other side, true worship. Elijah doesn't scream. He offers a short, clear, historically grounded prayer to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel. He is not putting on some holy theater to impress a crowd. He's praying heavy with faith, wanting genuine repentance. He just wants their hearts back.
And then, the climax. The fire fell. Not a little spark, not a warm summer breeze, but a massive blaze that consumed the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, the dust, and literally licked up the water. God did not answer halfway. He turned that impossible, waterlogged scene into pure ashes. And that prideful crowd, they were instantly forced onto their faces, shouting, "The Lord, He is God!" Because human pride stands tall right up until holy fire actually appears.
Section 4, Uncovering Our Hidden Altars. I want to pull this out of ancient history and bring it right into your living room right now.
You see, Mount Carmel was a war over the human heart. And guys, that war is still raging. The Lord who answered Elijah is merciful, but make no mistake, He will expose every single altar that competes with His name. Now, we might not bow down to statues of Baal anymore, but our idols are just a lot cleaner today. They fit right in our pockets. They glow at midnight and speak to us through screens. They demand our fear, our envy, and our waking hours just like the ancient statues did. A phone can absolutely be an altar. Your career can be a modern-day golden calf. Even an unhealed wound can become a god if you protect it more fiercely than you obey the Lord.
So here is the crucial point for us. I want you to pause and honestly answer a couple of questions in your own mind. Don't answer too fast. Let the slower honesty of your heart actually speak. Where do you run when fear rises? What do you vigorously protect when God asks for surrender? What would completely literally crush you if it were taken away tomorrow? Right there, whatever popped into your head, that is your hidden altar.
Section 5, the courage of private surrender. You might look at Elijah's public courage and think, well, that was just his bold personality, but it wasn't.
Long before the fire ever fell, God was training Elijah in hidden places. He had to stand by a dried-up brook at Cherith, entirely dependent on ravens bringing him scraps of food. Public fire always begins with private surrender. Yet we're so often living in a state of hypocrisy. We want the Mount Carmel moments, right? The bold prayers, the undeniable power in front of the crowds. But we seriously resist the Cherith seasons, the quiet obedience, the difficult shaping process that happens in the background, where no one is clapping for us. But listen, heaven is never confused by obscurity. God sees the room where you pray with a tired voice.
If you feel like an isolated believer right now, maybe you're the one praying mother in your family or the lone faithful worker in a totally cynical office, remember this: God absolutely doesn't need numbers to prove truth. He just needs a yielded vessel. The loud majority can own all the microphones, wear the fancy robes, and still be dead wrong when heaven asks for proof. Elijah stood alone in public because he already knew for sure he wasn't alone in secret.
And this brilliantly illustrates our final point in Section 6, from Carmel to Calvary. This is the deepest, most profound twist in the entire story. It is a plot twist of pure mercy. Think about it. When the fire of God fell on Mount Carmel, it didn't fry the false prophets. It fell on the sacrifice. The altar received the flame because blood had already been placed there. The sacrifice took the hit. The blood placed on that impossible, water-soaked altar in ancient Israel was always doing something far more significant than just winning a local contest. It was pointing our eyes forward, far beyond Carmel, to another hill in history.
It points us straight to Calvary. Because at Calvary, the true sacrifice, Jesus Christ, didn't call down fire on his enemies. No, he stood right where sinners, where you and I, should have stood. The blazing fire of God's perfect justice fell entirely on the Lamb.
For he made him who knew no sin to be sin for us. This is exactly why true repentance isn't about crawling into a dark corner in shame. It's about running back to mercy. The very same God who lovingly exposes the fake idols destroying your life is the God who provided the ultimate sacrifice to bring you home. We don't repair our altars to earn his love. We repair them because his love already found us in the ruins.
So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. What you should really take away from this explainer is this: the question isn't whether God can answer by fire. The question is, will you stop defending the idols that cannot answer you at all? Maybe the most terrifying sound in your life right now is the silence of the thing you trusted to save you. Call its name, see if it answers, and when it doesn't, turn to the living God.